Imagine two pioneers on the digital frontier, each carrying a banner of a different ideal. Bitcoin rises from the ashes of the 2008 financial crisis as a defiant cry for freedom, a form of money outside government control. In contrast, Ethereum emerges as a playground of innovation, turning the concept of blockchain into a canvas for decentralized applications. Both have captured the world's imagination, one as freedom money and sound digital gold, the other as a world computer powering an unstoppable wave of creativity. In this video, we're going to be exploring what I mean by Bitcoin equals freedom and Ethereum equaling innovation, and ask the big question, which one, if either, will define our future, or do we need both, or even a hybrid of the two? Bitcoin's creation was rooted in the cypherpunk ethos of personal liberty. It was born to be sovereign, censorship-resistant, and free from centralized control. So what does this all mean? First, it means Bitcoin has an immutable monetary policy. Only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist, a hard cap encoded in its protocol. No central bank can print more, and this built-in scarcity is often likened to precious gold. Just as gold once guaranteed financial stability, Bitcoin's fixed supply creates a sound money that cannot be debased by inflation. This scarcity, combined with a transparent public ledger, gives people confidence that the rules won't subtly change on them. Secondly, Bitcoin is decentralized and borderless. It runs on a network of thousands of nodes worldwide, not controlled by a single government or company. Transactions can be sent peer-to-peer without needing permission from a bank or an authority. This makes it censorship-resistant. No one can easily freeze your Bitcoin or block a payment because there's no central gatekeeper. In practical terms, Bitcoin empowers financial sovereignty. You hold your own private keys, so you truly own your money. This aspect has earned Bitcoin its name freedom money, a tool for individuals to opt out of traditional finance and guard their wealth from inheritance. For people living under authoritarian regimes or in economies reckoned by hyperinflation, these features just aren't tech specs, they're lifelines. In countries where banks falter or governments impose capital controls, Bitcoin offers a way to transact and save without fear of confiscation or debasement. It's no surprise that Bitcoin is celebrated as more than a currency. It's an overall movement. People often say, fix the money, fix the world, suggesting that an incorruptible money like Bitcoin can anchor a fairer society. In fact, we can draw parallels between Bitcoin's design and a constitution. Bitcoin is like a constitution enforced by code, protecting economic rights by automating honesty in monetary policy. Its rules are hard to change, much like constitutional principles, which ensures no ruler or mob can easily violate the financial freedom it grants. In essence, Bitcoin equals freedom captures how Bitcoin stands for individual empowerment in finance. It's the idea that money should serve the people, not governments or big banks. Bitcoin's vision of the future is one where everyone, regardless of nationality or status, can access a neutral, global currency that holds its value and cannot be censored. It's a vision rooted in monetary independence, akin to digital gold hidden in one's pocket, beyond the reach of tyrants and inflationary printing presses. So if Bitcoin is the digital age's gold, Ethereum is its innovation engine, often described as a world computer that anyone can program. Launched in 2015 by the young visionary Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum took blockchain technology a step further. It made it programmable. On Ethereum, you can write smart contracts, self-executing pieces of code that run exactly as programmed, with no downtime and no intermediaries. This was revolutionary. Imagine signing a contract that automatically executes when conditions are met, or buying a house without needing lawyers and escrow agents, just code ensuring everything is fair. Ethereum set out to enable exactly that kind of future. With smart contracts as building blocks, Ethereum unlocked an explosion of creativity in the form of decentralized application, better known as dApps. Developers and dreamers around the world began using Ethereum as a platform to reimagine services that traditionally required central authorities. This gave birth to DeFi, decentralized finance, protocols that let people lend, borrow, trade, and earn interest peer-to-peer without the need of banks or any intermediaries. By 2025 in the modern year, tens of billions of dollars in value have been locked in DeFi platforms on Ethereum, indicating how much traction this vision has gained. Ethereum also pioneered DAOs, the decentralized autonomous organizations, which are like online companies or communities run by code and collective voting, not by CEOs' fiat. And of course, we saw the rise of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, unique digital collectibles and art, which turned Ethereum into a global gallery and marketplace for creators. These are all part of Ethereum's ethos of innovation. It's a fertile ground where new ideas about how we organize finance, art, and governance can be tested in real time. Some argue that Ethereum's philosophy is more flexible and evolutionary than Bitcoin's core idea is. While Bitcoin deliberately changes very slowly to essentially preserve its role as sound money, Ethereum has gone through significant upgrades to enhance its capabilities. For example, Ethereum shifted from the energy-intensive proof-of-work consensus to a greener, scalable proof-of-stake system in an upgrade known as the merge. The network is continuously being refined to increase speed and reduce fees, all while maintaining decentralization. As the ICBC report from the world's largest bank noted, Ethereum keeps providing technical power for the digital future by iterating on security, scalability, and sustainability. This adaptability underscores why I can say Ethereum equals innovation. It's not static. It's an ever-improving toolkit for building the decentralized internet of the future. A lot of Ethereum pro individuals often call it digital oil to Bitcoin's gold. Oil historically was the resource that fueled industries, mobility, and growth. Likewise, Ether is the fuel that powers the Ethereum network. Every smart contract execution or transaction requires a bit of ETH as gas. In other words, Ethereum provides the energy and infrastructure for a new digital economy. It fuels computation, secures applications, powers decentralized finance, and underpins Layer 2 ecosystems. And just as oil's value came from its wide utility, Ethereum's value is seen in the vast array of applications it supports. Financial markets, supply chains, games, social networks, you name it. Vitalik Buterin envisioned Ethereum as a launchpad for all sorts of socio-political experimentation, from fair voting systems to universal basic income distribution. Above all, he hoped it would decentralize power on the internet, wresting control from big tech monopolies and even authoritarian regimes. This is a profoundly innovative and ambitious agenda. Ethereum isn't just about money, it's about reinventing how we coordinate as a society using code. So Bitcoin and Ethereum do not just differ in technology, they represent distinct visions on what a decentralized future could look like. One way to think of it is through a historical analogy, gold versus oil. Throughout history, gold was treasured as a stable store of value, portable wealth that outlasts empires. Oil, on the other hand, was the fuel that transformed economies and drove innovation through the Industrial Revolution. In the crypto realm, Bitcoin is often dubbed digital gold, valued for its stability and scarcity, whereas Ethereum is likened to digital oil, prized for how it powers new technological breakthroughs. Just as modern civilizations was built on both precious reserves of value and energetic fuel, many argue that our digital civilization might benefit from both Bitcoin's sound money and Ethereum's programmable infrastructure. Another analogy we can make is Bitcoin as the constitution and Ethereum as the frontier of laws and innovation. Bitcoin's core rules of 21 million cap coins, block size limits, are deliberately rigid, like constitutional articles that protect fundamental rights. In this case, it's the right to financial self-sovereignty. This rigidity is a feature, ensuring predictability and trust in the monetary system. Ethereum, conversely, is more like an open frontier or a laboratory of governance. It provides a base platform, like a governing framework, on which countless rule sets, which are smart contracts, can be created and updated. In Ethereum's world, communities can essentially write their own mini-constitutions through DAO bylaws coded in smart contracts, for anything from managing a shared treasury to running a decentralized exchange. This flexibility means Ethereum's laws can evolve quickly to meet users' needs. For example, upgrading a DeFi protocol to patch a vulnerability or improve efficiency. Whereas Bitcoin's changes are slow and conservative, reflecting a don't break what's working ethos. Neither approach is inherently better. They serve different purposes. Bitcoin offers stability and trustworthiness, whereas Ethereum offers creativity and adaptability. The communities around these projects even embody these philosophies. Bitcoiners often stress principles like economic freedom, absolute scarcity, and resistance to tyranny. It's common to hear Bitcoin advocates talk about empowering the unbanked, protecting against reckless central banks, or even restoring a form of digital gold standard for the world. Ethereum enthusiasts, meanwhile, buzz with ideas about what can be built: new financial primitives, new ways of organizing people, digital art movements, and many more. They speak of an emerging Web3, which is an internet owned by its users, where identity, data, and assets are under your control, not in the hands of big tech. It's a vision where innovation knows no permission. Anyone with an idea and some code can deploy an application that potentially reaches millions, much like early internet innovators, but with the difference that the value is native to the system. Despite tribal rivalries that sometimes flare up online, many thought leaders see Bitcoin and Ethereum as complementary. Bitcoin provides a robust foundation, a reliable, incorruptible store of value, and perhaps future global reserve currency. Ethereum builds on that foundation to create an ecosystem of decentralized services. In fact, the two are increasingly interconnected. Projects now use Bitcoin's network for security while leveraging Ethereum for smart contracts, and Ethereum's improvements often draw inspiration from Bitcoin's ethos of decentralization. It's as if one is the bedrock and the other is the building rising atop of it. So Bitcoin or Ethereum, which one will shape the decades to come? The honest and perhaps philosophical, unsatisfying answer might just be both, in their own way. Bitcoin excels at offering certainty in an uncertain world, a role akin to a digital gold standard where individuals and even nations can anchor their wealth. Ethereum excels at offering possibility, a platform for endless innovation, like an operating system for the decentralized economy. The future could very well need both freedom and innovation as pillars. Just as a flourishing society needs both the rule of law and dynamism of free enterprise, the crypto future might thrive on Bitcoin's freedom ethos alongside Ethereum's creative drive. Of course, it's also possible that one overshadows the other. What if the world decides that sound money is the only thing that truly matters, and innovation can happen on layers built atop that sound money? In that scenario, Bitcoin could remain king, with Ethereum and others adapting to plug into Bitcoin's network for ultimate trust, which we can already see today. On the other hand, what if the ability to innovate and adapt trumps rigidity? Perhaps a future comes where a highly flexible platform becomes so dominant in utility that its currency gains monetary status too, potentially challenging Bitcoin's crown. After all, Ethereum's upgrades aim to improve its scarcity and efficiency. It even introduced a burn mechanism that can make ETH deflationary when the network is heavily used, hinting that it could be sound money and fuel simultaneously. And we shouldn't ignore the wild card. An entirely new blockchain might emerge, learning from Bitcoin and Ethereum, combining the best of both, or focusing on a niche that becomes pivotal. We can already see this today, but in my opinion, this is probably more of the unlikely outcome, but we should still consider it. So in this video, we can't solve this debate, but we can appreciate its nuance. Bitcoin equals freedom represents a return to individual empowerment and trust in unbreakable principles. Ethereum equals innovation represents a leap toward unfettered creativity and building the future we might imagine. Perhaps the future doesn't belong to one or the other in absolute terms, but to a balance. We might use Bitcoin like a global savings account and unit of account, while using Ethereum as a global computer for daily interactions, contracts, and communities. In the end, asking which one wins might itself be the wrong framing. It's like asking whether freedom or innovation is more important. The two are deeply interrelated. Innovations flourish in the freedom, and freedom is preserved through continual innovation against new challenges. So as you think about the future, monetary and digital, consider this. Will we see a world of one champion or an alliance of many? Will Bitcoin's promise of financial freedom and Ethereum's promise of open innovation converge into a new paradigm for society? The answer is still unwritten, and that is the excitement of this revolution. Who wins the future? Perhaps the future is won by those who choose freedom and innovation in equal measure.